in all of my videos, when I explaining something, how to get on a good car, or giving some sort of insights, my job and my values and my requirements and CarExamer blueprint, it's a tendency to promote awareness for you as a buyer to buy a good car, right? How to avoid problems. You know, we're not here interested if you can buy the biggest shit and fix it yourself somehow, or stick it together somehow. You know, it is awareness, how people can, without inspection or with inspection, when they do their own search and when they're looking for a good car, you know, they can buy it and they got help what to avoid, you know, any pitfalls. You know, it's about applying a common sense, right? Every used car will have problems. It will break down. Consumers not requirement. Consumers' duty of care is always obtain appropriate extended warranty to avoid disputes, because every car will break down. It's also a duty to research appropriate extended warranty. You know, so you are covered. You know, as there's so many variations of them, and terms and conditions matter. You can't just assume you bought a warranty and you think it will cover everything. You need to read the terms and conditions, you know, because most of the warranties, the cheaper warranties, where wear and tear is wishy-washy, right? Technically, it's not. It's a conflict of interest. The way they sell that warranty, technically, there is an issue with the contract, the way it's been put together, and it disadvantages the consumer, right? That's one fact. So if they will reject the warranty, don't moan, don't blame. It's in the contract, right? What you would need to do is simply, then, if you want to be a liberty taker, you have to set a precedent and take them to through the courts, and if necessary to high court if you're a liberty taker, right? That is regards to extended warranties, right? But our duty is just get this awareness when you search, you know, how to look, how to think, how to approach, because you as a consumer, you know, for me, we have set standards, you know. I don't want to buy the car and start fixing it. I don't want to buy the car, taking it to the garage, leaving it there, you know, leaving it for a week. I want to drive, right? So the purpose of importance of all maintenance done, if there is no service history or part of it, if something goes wrong with the engine, let's say, which is wishy-washy regards to extended warranties, right? They will ask you if it has full service history, right? That's one thing to think about. People doesn't think, right? And they can reject that based on you don't have proof, right? So remember, extended warranties, they will look for anything to avoid payment. When it will come to the big bill, 10 grand, 20 grand for the Range Rover engine, 50, 60 grand for the Ferrari, right? They ain't stupid. Do you think they want to pay out? Well, clearly not, you know. So there's a reasons why you want that full history. There is a reasons why you want those 2 keys, because if the car is being nicked, right, they will ask you for the spare key, right? So, because again, they can assume it's a deliberate act, you know. Seller can sell you a car, even it's a main dealer, smaller dealer, or even a private, right? It don't have to be a con. Somebody deliberately sold your car with 1 key, and then next day they will follow you and will steal your car. It could be somebody new and they sold it, let's say, to the main dealer with 1 key, and they sell it with 1 key. No one will even realize anything, and they will just take your car, let's just say, right? I mean, it's just the protections. If it doesn't have V5Cs, you know, there is there is a reasons why it doesn't have it. So to avoid problems, everything is about avoiding problems, avoiding issues. I don't want to fix my car all the time. I don't want to service straight away. I don't want a timing belt. I don't want to start buying a car worrying about my V5C, you know, because I might have to leave to France, right? You know, you don't have it, you can't, you would need to show it, you know, you can leave the country, you know, you need documentation, you know. So things like proof of purchase from private sellers, you want to see it. Can they actually sell the car? Do they actually own it? To prove ownership, it's a proof of purchase, you know, to make sure people keep changing addresses, you know, make sure the logbook is on a right address, because they might move it. They might move the location where they live. Again, you might have that. If you're buying privately, you will start panicking about trust issues, right? So even he's honest to say he's moved, you might not trust it, you know. You might ask the ID to see if the if addresses on driving license are matching his V5C logbook, right? Just to make sure, and when you're doing a purchase process, make sure you have a valid proof of invoice with the chassis number, mileage, you know, seller's addresses, and you're asking for ID, so it is the person who he says it is, right? So everything is just, what we're saying is just avoiding problems, you know. Again, it's not going to resonate to every people, right? Because there's always people who are always smarter than anyone else, and they know everything else they know, right? They know, they stand above the law of their thing. They think they know everything about consumer rights, and they know everything, right? But I'm not talking about these people. These people can just go and please themselves how they want it, right? I'm for you who've been scammed, who've been treated inappropriately by the seller or by the repair garage, you know. I want you to have less problems in your life, you know, because all that money, all that time of arguing you can spend with your family, with your kids. You can go holiday, and you know your car is good, because it is the second biggest purchase, right? If you're stupid enough not checking the overall condition, you know, and if you're inappropriately buying it, it's down to you. It's free choice. But please don't call us saying, oh, I think the car is unsatisfactory and you need engineer's report. You know, what you need to understand about engineer's report, it's professional opinion, and you can't just call somebody saying, oh, I'll need engineer's report, write down about my car has problems. It doesn't work like that way. Even if you're paying somebody for requirements, you know, your assumptions can be completely wrong, because you think you know everything. And that's again the context about people who knows everything. They know everything. They know they are victim, and everyone always leaves them on a blank, right? Everyone else is bad, they not bad, you know. But where technically they want to abuse and cause miserable pain to the seller, when they're actually physically blindly lying, right? So this is the nature how the consumer market works, how the trade works, you know. And I mentioned in my previous videos, it's a junkyard, right? You need to understand the used car is junk, right? And it goes through the processes. You selling the car, have a think about how you treating the car. Do you think I want to change brake pads? I know it's going to cost me, and brake disc pads, it's going to cost me like £400. I don't want to spend that money. I don't want to spend £750 on a timing belt, but I know I have to, you know. So I'd rather do it when it needs to, right, and keep my car going. And when I sell it, I can say proudly the car is good, you know. It doesn't matter how many miles it's done, it doesn't matter how many years it has, right? But it's just about you done it, because no one wants to do it, you know. You just want to drive, you know. It's understandable. It's the nature, but these are the things you have to keep going. It sounds like your roof is leaking on a house, your gutters are blocked on a house, and the rainwater doesn't go down as it should be required, and then it starts leaking on a wall somewhere, building some wet patches. So the drains blocked. You can't just leave it. You have to come. Even if you don't want to pay, you have to. The same as the car, you know. what comes around goes around. So how you treat your car is basically going to treat you. If you put a good oil in it, you know, it's going to last you longer. If you're going to put main dealer parts, you know, or very high spec OEM parts, you know, it's going to prolong those maintenance changes in between the intervals, right? If you buy cheap shit parts like brake pads or this, they're going to squeak, they're going to wear out much quicker, half the time quicker than manufacturer's parts. Remember, there's a quality standards, and let's say if you're talking about ISO standards or whatever, that's a minimum requirement. Everything is about minimum requirements. So if you put minimum requirements, you know, it's going to wear out, it's going to break quicker, you know. But obviously when manufacturer sort of builds the vehicle, right, they don't think like ordinary consumer thinks, oh, I'm going to buy the cheapest oil, going to buy from Tesco's, right? They think about that reliability. So when the vehicle is under manufacturer's warranty, and even under consumer rights, it has to last a reasonable amount of time. When I'm talking about brand new goods and services, right? So they think about that, so they can minimize inconvenience getting the cars in, servicing them, because it's a cost to them, right? There will be on a maintenance stuff you will pay, you know. But obviously they don't want sort of problems. They want a car to be reliable, you know. So when you're buying a car, even used car, that's how you have to think, you know, and have to think it's a used car. It came from various owners, it gave through various cycles, it went from the lease companies, business companies. Most people who own the car are businesses, you know. So you have to carefully select what you buy and ask who owned the car. Is it the trade-in? You know, why did they trade it in? Why did they trade it in? Is it an auction? If it doesn't have logbooks, one keys, you know, part of it is you want to avoid problems, you know, because every car will have those problems. And I'm just giving you the idea, you know, you can't just go to somebody, used car dealer. It just could be some junkyard. You can see some random fences, pile of cars, all of them from shit auction, you know. And I'm not saying all of the cars will be bad, but I mean, most of them will be like random some things, you know. So if the consumer would be smart and will look from the eyes of what I'm explaining and the what our standards are, there will be less problems. If you will be selective what you're buying, and we'll stick to this high standard, and everyone will demanding a good used car, not some sort of Essex boy racer who'll buy the shit, you know, and then he's gonna do because he thinks he knows mechanics, and he's gonna do those things yourself, you know, with substandard parts. But that means if everyone would think logically and say, look, I'm spending money, doesn't matter how much you're spending, £1,000 or 1 million, right? It's still a used car, you know. Same thing, same rules applies. But then the used car market, because of the specific demand, good cars, so the good cars will be higher sort of priced, but all the shit cars will lose their value. Because people will be specific about what they want, and they will go down very low. So that means even if you are mechanically minded, you know, it will sort of benefit you. But you need to understand, average consumer just want to have a good car, drive, do this maintenance, you know, and don't waste his money on a downtime, you know. Same as the business, you know, biggest cost, downtime when the car broken down, you know. So this is why it's important to stay on top of the maintenance issues, breakdowns, having appropriate, good, skillful garage or qualified technician for the appropriate make and model who can maintain that vehicle, instead of finding, again, consumer mentality, finding the cheapest idiot, you know, who thinks he knows. You know, any idiot can change oil if you have a look at YouTube, right? But it's about understanding and giving opinions, you know, and maintaining a quality place, so you have a valid service record, so it increases your car's value, you know. When somebody says, yes, this is what it has, instead of you be doing something randomly, and when somebody checks the car, oils are leaking everywhere, wherever. Remember, cheap places, if you pay cheap, you have a cheap service. They will not recommend there's oil leak, they will not recommend the coolant replacements and things like that. Nothing, everything will be done because it's cheap. you wanted, they did it, you know, they will not recommend you anything, you know. So that means be sensible. This is the point, you know. You know, I hope it helps. It's just applying logic, being smart, thinking in the long term, not because you're gonna buy the cheapest shit, you know, or vice versa, you know, and then you think you're gonna have a claim from the seller and you buy the biggest shit, right, which now service history and something gonna stupid stuff will go wrong, and you keep phoning the seller every single day, you know. It's just only stupid people, cheap people, right, does it, you know. Hope this helps. Take care.